Hey everybody, Scout Crafter here again. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. A little bit of a sad day for me today. Today I just got an estimate to take down my trees, my beautiful trees that I love so much, and I have to take them down. They're too old, and we're getting these crazy weather patterns in September. When the leaves are still on the trees, we're getting some heavy winds, and it's just too risky, and it kills me to take them down. But let me show you what I have to do. Now, you might remember that a couple of years ago I had the one side of this tree taken down, but and it's huge. It's a big oak tree, and look at that beautiful straight trunk. I mean, that's some great lumber right there. And look at that. I got that old maple that's 100-something years old in front of the house, and then there's this guy over here that I had the top taken off, to try and stop, but got to take these two. And let me show you the other two has got to come down. Behind the garage, I have two huge maples, and these are hard to get to, and these got to go behind the garage. You can see how close this one grew to the garage, and you can see how high it is, and look at this one overhanging my neighbor's yard. And the dead branches and whatnot, I can't take a chance on that coming down, so these all have to go. So it's going to kill me to see these things go, and especially since this is my favorite time, the springtime, when they start to bud up and come to life after 100 years, and to think that they have to go because I can't take a chance. That's the part of being a homeowner. And this thing now, it's kind of off balance, and and I keep thinking with the heavy winds, it might come toppling down. It's kind of close to the house, so take a guess on how much it's going to cost to take all them trees out. So as you can see, it's kind of a sad day for me because I love trees, and I'm going to replant new trees, but it takes 20 or 30 years for them to mature, and I'll be long gone by then. I'm hoping to put some maybe pines in or something. I don't have to worry about complaints from the neighbors or whatever the case may be. And I always like pine, evergreen, something that's green all year round. The price for those trees to be removed is going to be just under $9,000. That's another bite in the butt, isn't it? When you have to drop that kind of money on something that, first of all, you don't want to see them go, and then you got to pay for it, no less. And that's really a kick in the behind, isn't it? That's what stinks about owning a home that a lot of people don't think about. But, then you start thinking about all those other things you could have bought with that, that money. I haven't been on a vacation in 10, 15, 20 years maybe. Anyway, let's see. At least I'm on a vacation now down the shop. Let's see what we can do to make today a little bit better. Growing up, I was kind of big into adventure, especially after the Boys and during the Boy Scouts. Adventure was a big thing, and seeing those Boys Life magazines or seeing the old hunting advertisements and things like that. I mean, I love those old drawings of being in an adventurous situation, and yeah, of course the TV that we grew up with back then, and back in the Popular Science and Popular Mechanics magazines, in the back they would always have ads for these things, and they were great. The advertisements, you could look through, and things were cheap, and you could mail order stuff. And let me show you something that was pretty popular back in the day that a lot of people haven't seen or something, but I have one, and it's really interesting. Let's check it out. What we have here is we have something called the Kumbak. And what this is, this was a, you can see Kumbak Company, box 669, Minneapolis. And of course I know that Minnesota is this. And I said Michigan last time, but that's because once you hit 50, sometimes things come out of your mouth that your brain didn't actually okay. So that's why I made the mistake of saying Michigan last time. But yes, it's in Minnesota. And let me show you what this is. This is pretty interesting because this is like some old-timey stuff. First of all, it comes in a nice box, right? I don't know. I can't look, those clam shell packaging, I don't like them. A box is something. We always like stuff that comes in a box, right? Now, let's check this out. You can see here it says "Come Back," meaning that this will get you back home. And it's you can see it's a high-quality plastic. Back when they were starting to make, plastic. This is actually a good one. Has a whistle with a cork. You see that? That's a cork ball in there. So it has a high quality whistle to it, and it has a compass. You see that compass there? And it is correct. That is, magnetic north. Little bubble in there that indicate that it's liquid filled. And remember, this is, if not older than me or close to. And look at this. You screw off the top, and of course you have the survival matches. These are probably strike anywhere, because back in, years ago, you used to be able to get strike anywhere matches. And it's got a little gasket there. So I always thought this was pretty cool. This is something hunters would have, or, kids would buy their father for a hunter, or a wife would buy. But it's very nicely made. Just a nice little unit, isn't it? Kumbak is something you probably won't hear about or see, but you might find one in Grandpa's drawer, dresser drawer, something like that. It's nice to find one in good shape like that. Okay, next up, you remember last week I showed you that cool Sears catalog that Anthony sent in. Anthony Ronci, and he sent into the show, and it's funny, another good friend of the show, Bill O'Rourke, who I've known for a long time. Bill said, I restored one of those organs, and check out this thing. It took him 5 months to restore this organ. What a beautiful job he did. I just thought I'd share that with you. It's so amazing that so many of our subscribers have so many vast interests. Who'd have thought that, we'd see somebody that restored a 100-year-old organ, but Bill did, and beautiful job, Bill. Okay, next up, we have from the David Murray collection. David sent this in, and this is a beautiful Snap-on valve adjusting tool, and this is just a sweetheart of a tool. Look at this. It's got a... this is for adjusting solid valves, I believe. I've never used one, so I'm not going to pretend I know, but I do have a friend by the name of Bruce Grunton. And Bruce, again, big supporter of the show. He's the one that sent in the walnut that we've used a couple projects. And Bruce said, hey, if I can use one of those for my 62 Studebaker. Hopefully Bruce will send a picture of that car in. I'll show you what it is. So... okay, Bruce, this is yours, but obviously I'm going to clean it up before I give it to you. So let's just do a nice cleanup, something that he'll be, enjoy using, and something that he'll enjoy having in his toolbox, because this has seen better days, right? But we will make this nice. I don't know what we'll do with the handle, but let's get started. Okay, while the paint is drying on today's project, I thought maybe we go through a quick show and tell of something I'm going to be putting upstairs in the attic. So let's go check it out. Okay, during the 50s and 60s, they were introducing more plastic into the toys that they were selling. And because plastic was so inexpensive, and houses were, remember, back in the 50s and 60s, big houses, everything was getting bigger. They wanted the toys to be bigger too. Dolls were bigger, and cars, everything's, because size meant a lot when you were giving a gift to a kid. So this is a Shark high speed. It's a U control, which is the like a tether car, but this was battery operated, made by Remco. And take a look at the cool box and the box graphics that they gave, because remember what I was telling you, a lot of times back then the box meant a lot when kids were going down the aisle to attract them to say, oh my, I want that. The retailers liked about these boxes, by just folding them up. Remember, the box was like this, closed, and if you folded them up a certain way, like this, they became a display item for your store, and it would actually sell itself. I mean, you could just put this up here, and now that, again, kids would be walking by and say, I want that. And it's a clever design. Let me show you a little bit about the car. Now, unlike other tether cars, this car was, like I said, battery operated, and the batteries went into a compartment here. There was, would lift up, let me see if I can, there we go. There was a battery for, I guess, D-size, D-size batteries. That was common back then, remember? And they would go in there, and unlike a lot of other cars of this type that were gas-powered and they were centrifugal force would keep them in a circle. This here had a string control that came with this here. See this little string controller here, and it was a little hook, like an S hook, modified S hook, would go into here. And what you would do is you kind of let it go on its own. When you wanted it to turn in the circle, you would give a yank on it. When you pulled on this, watch the front wheels, they would turn towards the inside, you see? They would turn towards the end, making the circle tighter, and that's how you would kind of steer it. It had actually a little bit of a cockpit in there, which was, pretty uncommon for a lot of cars back then. The clear plastic back then always seemed to warp because a lot of times these would be put in the attics. And attics with the clear plastic, they were formed, and they were kind of a low temperature formed plastic. So if you left this in the attic, which this one probably was, they would droop down a little bit. That happened a lot with all clear plastics, but it had a cool boat tail design, with the little fin in the back. It had hard rubber tires. These had the actual, they look like rims almost, but they're a plastic kind of a hubcap on there. Pretty interesting car. Always liked these. Never seen these around as a kid too much, but it is a pretty hefty, pretty big car, and quite interesting. Again, Remco, you don't see these too often anymore, but it's always nice to go back in time every once in a while and see what the kids played with back before I was a kid. Okay, my favorite part. Remember what this Snap-on tool looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. Now, I didn't go overboard with this because I know Bruce is going to use it most likely. And Bruce is kind of a... when it comes to tools, he's kind of a purist. I guess he kind of likes the way they are. He don't mind the patina, but I just didn't want to give him a messed up tool. Let's take a look at this. Remember the rust and everything that was on here. We did the inside here with a little Scout Crafter red. And that's also Snap-on red, by the way. And you could see here we did a nice cleanup job on here. The socket is beautiful, and you can see there's a little ball detent in there, and you can see this how the socket snaps on here. The handle, this was painted, but it was also chipped up and stuff, and you can see we did it up pretty nice. This is what I like to do with Snap-on tools. I like them to look just like you would like to have them in your toolbox, something that looks used. And look how nice and smooth this is now, This is just beautiful. So I think Bruce will get a lot of use out of this. And if not, he can hang it on and put it in the drawer. He'll enjoy it, I'm sure. And there we go. Our Snap-on valve adjusting tool. And we can all thank David Murray for this, for this project today. So in closing, special thanks to David again for sending that over. And Bruce, I'll be giving this to you as soon as I see you, or you can just send me your address or whatnot. And thanks very much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye.